So we've learnt some interesting new details about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that's opening at Disneyland at the end of May. So let's dive into all of that up next. Hi there Waltoners, I'm Jack and this is of course DSMI Newscast, and you know what, for today with all of this Star Wars Galaxy's Edge news, let's just get straight into it. As this past weekend, it was Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, and besides getting our first trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, with that oh so ominous Emperor Palpatine laugh at the end of the trailer, as expected we also received some brand new details and first looks at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at the Disney Parks panel. But with the opening of the first of the Star Wars lands right around the corner on May 31st, we're going to be ramping up our coverage of all of the new details that will surely be revealed over the next 6 weeks. So stay tuned to DSMI Newscast for all of that. But now let's get to the most exciting stuff that came out of this Disney Parks panel, and that's the new glimpses at the audio animatronics and also some new details for the Millennium Falcon attraction. As previously at the end of February we'd received this clip of the Hondo Ohnaka animatronic in its test phases at Walt Disney Imagineering, but we can now see and also hear the audio animatronic in action within the queue of the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction.
Yes. Hello, my friends. I am Hondo Ohnaka, and this is Ohnaka Transport Solutions. Today, I am offering the opportunity of a lifetime. I need flight crews to transport this valuable merchandise across the galaxy, pilots to navigate, engineers to operate the ship, and gunners to defend the shipments. And that is where you come in.
And to me the first thing that jumps out of this clip is just how good the voice acting is by Jim Cummings for this audio animatronic. As that commanding performance combined with the fluidity of this advanced A1000 series animatronic figure, it's safe to say that Disney have really brought this character to life. However, you won't be able to get that close to this 7-foot tall animatronic, unlike what is seen in this video of the camera zooming in on the face of Hondo Ohnaka. But instead, as we can see in this brand new piece of concept art for the queue area of the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction, Hondo will be positioned high up on top of the gangway within the Ohnaka Transport Solutions. And in the background you'll be able to see the Millennium Falcon being moved from its landing pad location that you'll be able to walk around outside of the attraction building in the actual land itself, in this footage here, to a docking bay inside of the Hondo Ohnaka Transport Solutions. But that's not all, as we've also learnt that depending on how successful you are on your mission and whether you return the Millennium Falcon in perfect condition or whether you get into a couple of crashes and have a couple of dings and dents to the Millennium Falcon, the actual exit corridor for the attraction after you exit your cockpit will change and show the damage in the way of sparks, dents in walls and broken and flickering lights, which is a first for Walt Disney Imagineering being able to adapt an exit queue to reflect the unique decisions that you the guests have just made within the actual attraction. Now I don't expect that Disney are going to be having a separate unload corridor altogether in achieving this effect, but instead it will be more along the lines of an activated special effects sequence depending on how successful you were in returning the Millennium Falcon in tip-top shape. And if you're wondering to yourself what the layout of the boarding and unloading process will be for this attraction, then this should help make it easier, as we now know that you will board through this docking ring here and then you'll enter and explore this main hold area, where you'll find the iconic holochess board, and you'll surely want to experience this whole area just like Han and Chewie do. But then your flight crew will be called up to board your very own cockpit and take the controls of the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. But then when you come to exit the cockpit, you'll turn left and exit through the other docking ring on this side of the Falcon, instead of going down the iconic boarding ramp. As in story terms, Ohnaka's Transport Solutions actually has special docking gangway corridors to make it even easier to get in and out of the Falcon. But the real reason for why we won't be able to enter and exit the Falcon just like out of the movies is mainly due to accessibility requirements, as the actual boarding ramp has a pretty steep incline, which would mean that Disney would have to create a special entry point for guests with disabilities, which would not keep the theme alive for all guests. So instead, Imagineering have decided to make the entry onto the Falcon the exact same experience for every single guest. and build the ADA elevator requirements into the theme of Hondo Ohnaka's transport solutions. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, the Millennium Falcon will have specially designed wheelchair accessible pods, making this attraction a dream come true for every single guest. But that's not all that we found out at Star Wars Celebration, as we've also had it officially confirmed that Yoda will be appearing in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge as a Force ghost, with Frank Oz returning to voice one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. However, unlike Hondo Ohnaka, Yoda will not be in animatronic form, but most likely an element of a Rise of Resistance Q instead, as we've also heard that Rey, Finn and Poe will all appear as some sort of projection sequence within the pre-show Q area. And whilst we're talking about the Rise of Resistance attraction, which is the trackless dark ride system that will open in a second phase at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, we've had it officially confirmed that all of this footage here that you're seeing within this promo is actually filmed within the show building for this attraction, as can also be seen in this image from Imagineer Scott Trowbridge of the filming of this promo. And it really is incredible to think that all of this, that looks like it's right off of a Star Wars movie set, is the actual show building and the show scenes that we'll be travelling through on this epic attraction. And we've also got this new piece of concept art for the Rise of Resistance attraction entrance as well, as Galaxy's Edge is meant to feel like two very different environments, one being the bustling Black Spire outpost as we can see here in this brand new concept art, and the other section of Galaxy's Edge is the forested outskirts where the Resistance have now fled to when the First Order arrived in town. And on top of all of that, we've also received our first look at the Dok-Ondar audio animatronic that you'll interact with within his Den of Antiquities. That will be most likely this building here. Whereas other new concept art that we've received recently shows a glimpse at Kat Sarka's kettle, where you'll get the outpost mix, which is the popcorn within Galaxy's Edge, the milk stand to buy blue and green frozen milk variations, which will be different to the Cantina's frozen milk, and depending on where your allegiance lies, the Resistance supply store where you'll be able to join the Rebellion, or in this concept art, the First Order cargo, where you'll be able to gear up and show off your dark side. And that actually leads us into the next big thing that we got our first proper glimpse at Star Wars Celebration, and that's the datapad experience. As for quite a while now, we've told you that with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Walt Disney Imagineering are aiming to create the next evolutionary step in theme park entertainment, as the actual land itself in many ways will be its own attraction experience. As within the Play Disney Parks app, there will be the datapad, which will be used in gamifying every part of Black Spire Outpost, as there will be this crowd-controlled game called Outpost Control, and this is where you'll go around the land and try and decode and override the surveillance devices that have been installed by the First Order when they first arrived at Black Spire Outpost. And you can join the Resistance in switching the surveillance off, or help the First Order out in switching them back on. And whichever side has the most surveillance devices in their favour will win control of Black Spire Outpost, and then it will reset. So in a way, it's a little bit like Pokemon Go. But Imagineers have also stated that this is going to be just the beginning of the gamification of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, as you'll also be able to hack into droids and ships around the land, scan the cargo crates to see what's inside, and translate the various alien languages around the land in both written and spoken form. And lastly, you'll be able to tune in and intercept the satellite transmissions and discover whole new backstories of the residents of Batuu. And that's not where all this news ends out of Star Wars Celebration, as we've also received our first look at the merchandise within Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. As we can see here in this video, courtesy of friend of DSMI Newscast, Part Views with Brad Hughes, that there will be quite a variety of droids that can be fully customised within the droid depot, with these being BB and R2 series droids, that will be completely remote controlled and will move around just like the droids right out of Star Wars. But what's really cool is these personality chips, as these will make the droids affiliate as part of the Resistance, the First Order, or even as a rogue smuggler, meaning that as you move around Galaxy's Edge, the droid will come to life and interact differently depending on what personality chip you've decided to put into your droid. And the droid depot will also have DJ-RX units and mouse droids, with these being completely remote controlled as well as fully articulated, as you can see here in this video, which I highly recommend going over and checking out for yourself, so I'll leave a link in the description box below. And in addition to this, Brad Hughes also has a video of some of the other merchandise and creatures that will be available to buy at the Creature Stall and the Toy Dairy and Toy Makers as well, which is highly worth checking out. And lastly, we also got our first official look at the Legacy lightsabers that will be available within Dok-Ondar's Den of Antiquities, as we can see them being used by Ashley Eckstein on the Star Wars stage. But for most guests, they'll want to customise their very own lightsaber at Savvy's workshop. That is vastly beyond the build a lightsaber experience that can be found within Disney parks around the world. As we can see here, that you have full customisation over the handle and the hilt of the lightsaber, along with the coloured choice of kyber crystal and the lightsaber itself. But of course, all of this is just the beginning of the first looks that we're going to be getting inside of Galaxy's Edge, as the opening of Disneyland's version is at the end of May, so expect way more coverage of everything to do with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge here on DSMI Newscast over the next 6 weeks. But now, it's over to you, Walton, as I would like to know if you could plus Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland or Walt Disney World in any way whatsoever by adding a unique Star Wars experience which would replicate something from the Star Wars movies within the land in the next couple of years, what would it be and how would you make it happen within the land? And that could either be adding more animatronics of Star Wars characters and creatures, or adding new technology to bring Star Wars to life. And of course, if you want to be in with a chance to win one of these official DSMI Newscast pins, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere within this video along with your suggestion or your comments, therefore that way I know who wants to be in the chance to win one of these pins. And congratulations to this Waltoneer here for winning this suggestion from a previous video where we were talking all about the Disney Plus streaming service that's going to be launching in November. And so that's it for today, so go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to this channel, hit that notification icon so therefore you always receive an update when these videos come out on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and if you've enjoyed today's video, give this video a massive thumbs up as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.